Trinidad and Tobago, wise brother, I call him Mwalimu, which means teacher. Morning, brother Akko.
Morning, Sister YaYa. Good morning to our listening audience, and good morning to my good brother Ringo from Curacao, Ringo Harrigan from Curacao.
That's right. Thanks to brother Akko, I found a new brother from the Caribbean island of Curacao, brother Ringo Harrigan, our community organizer. Morning, brother Ringo.
Good morning, CCI. Good morning to brother Mutota and the listeners.
Okay, for a lot of, I think they're in the South Caribbean, see Curacao there, and they have a population about 147,862 according to the internet. Majority African people racialized as black people. So I got a lot of time for link up with the kinfolk from the Curacao through brother Ringo Harrigan. But you know the usual, brother Akko, our Caribbean correspondent, to give us some Caribbean news. Go to brother Akko.
Good morning again, Sister YaYa. Good morning to our listening audience. So, first on the first item this morning is a headline that I think is very important for the Caribbean. And the headline goes, Urgent Need to Protect Our Identities in the Age of AI. And this came out of a newspaper article in Bermuda, another Caribbean island that we hear very little bit about. And so the article reads, the rise of technologies powered by artificial intelligence introduces both opportunities for innovation and new vulnerabilities, especially as it becomes easier than ever to copy a person's face, voice, or body using artificial intelligence. Denmark has just made history by passing a groundbreaking law. It gives every citizen legal ownership of their own face, voice, and body. This means that no one, whether it is a company, a stranger, or an AI developer, can use a person's image or voice without their clear permission. In short, you now own you. The law comes at a critical time as around the world, we are seeing a dangerous rise of deep fakes, fake videos, voice recordings, and photos that look and sound real, but are entirely computer generated. These can be used to spread misinformation, commit fraud, or violate someone's dignity and privacy. Children and young people are especially vulnerable. That's why Australia has introduced its own protective measure called the Child Internet Safety Act, which prohibits children under 16 from creating accounts on social media platforms. The goal is to reduce exploitation, protect mental health, and shield young users from harmful content and deceptive technologies. These examples show that the world is starting to recognize the urgent need for digital protections. Bermuda now has the opportunity, and I would say the wider Caribbean, to lead in the Caribbean and protect its citizens from misuse of AI. We call on Bermuda's lawmakers, educators, and community leaders to study these models and act swiftly. Our laws must evolve to match the realities of our time, ensuring that every person, especially our children, has the right to be safe, private, and in control of their own identity. Let us work together to build a digital future that respects human dignity. And I think this is a very important article, Sister YaYa, for us to understand because of the prevalence of deepfakes and AI, which has changed the world as we know it in a very, very significant way. And I think this article should spur Caribbean governments to act in a way that they put legislation in place to prevent the use or abuse of AI by people with malintent. The next piece comes out of Guyana, and it is a very interesting piece on elections in Guyana. Right? For those who would have followed Ghana's history, you would know that in 1964, there was an election in Guyana which Chedi Jagan won. And because Jagan was deemed a communist, the United States and the British intervened to prevent Jagan from assuming power, and they arrested a number of the people in the PPP, including Jagan and people like UC Quayana, and so on. And so, again, the issue of interference in elections is a big issue for the Caribbean. This so-called democracy that we know that we have, that we seem to believe is foolproof. So in an article in Guyana, G.K. Lal, a commentator, is writing about what he sees as the problems with Guyana democracy and the elections that is coming soon. And the headline is Ghana elections from no US to too much US, hard truths. First it was Exxon, now it is America. America has long been the versatile foreign magician working his magic tricks here. Elections. PPP out, PNC in, PNC out, PPP in. Now America is back again and up to its old tricks. No Mohammed in the House. And this refers to a politician who they don't want to be in the election. I said, no Mohammed in the House. No chair for him in the seat of government. Even if the Guyanese say he's the one for we. It's back to the future and Jagan again, which I just referred to 1964. Is this what foreign help and foreign investment have come to in Guyana? More unsparingly, is Guyana still a country? Was Guyana ever a country? Exxon says that whatever this sovereignty does, it cannot make any law that causes its economic impairment. If these are the balls on which Guyana's parliament rolls produces for the future, then of what good is it? What necessity, vitality it holds forth? Exxon neutered Guyana's parliament when it cut off a part of its anatomy. So there is that eunuch left that is called Guyana. Guyanese, whether PPP or PNC, get some damn self-respect. This is his statement to the population. Scrape away some of that shame smearing and dripping from the face and dare to stand up and say F you and your mama too. Exxon still has people like the notable Alistair Rutledge having the unmitigated gall to face the world and represent itself as a partner of the Guyanese people. The old American slave masters used to love to trot out that line. See how happy they are now, how civilized the slaves are, good treatment that only a caring master and partner could give. Exxon gives. Here's how. You want a cricket bat? Have one. In search of a government that is democratic through and through, John Hess, the PPP is the one and the PNC would also be the same and deliver if given the chance. Wishing for a leader that is a parrot and a pawn. Now that's a challenge. Since the field is so rich, the pickings are so sweet. My Lord, my God, an oil company controlling a country. Correction, an oil company that is a country. An oil company's proconsul that is the commander-in-chief. Did somebody shout, that's Guyana? For those who have never heard of that before, get used to it. Shut the face and live with it. Now up comes America. Another friend of Guyana, one that shares a special relationship. When a friend can determine and change every goddamn government that this country has, and then it is a special relationship indeed. Exxon makes Guyana into an apology for a country. America makes Guyana into an ass of a country. Concern over Mohammed as extending into government. Concern when employed into the lingo of international gangsterism and power diplomacy signals the pursed lips preparing for the kiss of death. And this is how he sees what is happening in Guyana, that the Exxon and the United States are so embedded in Guyana that the so-called democratic process does not exist. And I would dare say that this is something that prevails throughout the Caribbean, where big business can intervene, where powerful media entities can intervene in our politics and determine who comes to power, while the facade that the people is making a decision continues to exist. The next headline has to do with, again, computer, and the headline is, how does screen time affect your mental health and emotional health? As we know, the prevalence of the computer has created a lot of problems as a new technology for people in the Caribbean. And we are not really assessing the psychological and sociological impact of this. And so this is an interesting article out of St. Vincent that asks the question, how does screen time affect your mental and emotional health? The title goes, this has become a common norm in the current generation since most people spend significant time working on screens. Also, the extent of its integration in people's daily lives as a form of communication devices, media instruments, or means of work or study, social networks, movies, or web pages captivates us for hours. However, a very significant issue came into question. How does screen time affect your mental and emotional health? Indeed, technology has been of great use, especially in sharing information and people's contact. Hence, negating this aspect has led to the infamous psychological health concern for the technologists. This article aims to identify the consequences so that persons utilizing screens may come to know what they lose, or rather harm, as they spend much of their time before screens. And the first headline is the connection between screen time, or subheading, the connection between screen time and mental health. Since the relationship between screen time and mental health is complicated and contextual, the flowchart needs additional explanation on this page. Some of the effects include anxiety, depression, stress, and the reduction of the intelligence levels of the users. This occurs because when the brain relies for a long time on the screens, it becomes overstressed and hence cannot concentrate, control anger, or even undergo a calming process. According to the arguments of experts, it can be deduced that screen time has certain social consequences, which include sleep deprivation, social comparison, and absence of face-to-face social contacts. It can also cause severe psychological repercussions, which may make a person prone to suffering from related mental ailments. The other subheading, the impact of screen time on emotional well-being. There are various effects of spending most of the time in front of screens, particularly the emotional part. With regard to the negative impacts, some observations have been noted as being more stressed, having mood swings, and having more issues in the virtual world, the longer the hours spent in front of technology. Another headline, subheading, increased anxiety and depression. The studies carried out earlier have shown that those children who are involved in screen time, most of the time, have a greater level of anxiety and depression. For instance, social networks present slender and successful people, and such role models disorient persons, resulting in negative self-image and depression. But there are other issues explaining emotional disturbances, such as FOMO, which is an acronym for fear of missing out, and cyberbullying. Sleep distractions is also one. In the domains of child development, the influence of the amount of time spent on screens had the most apparent detrimental impact on sleep. It also has a negative impact on the secretion of melatonin, and thus has a negative impact on the quality of sleep that one is able to have. This is why the lack of recommended darkness can lead to irritability and poor temperance. Social isolation and loneliness is another issue. And also there's the physical consequences of prolonged screen time. While possible effects of hours spent on screen concerning the aspects of the mind and spirit can be considered, if attention will be paid, equal consideration should be given to the amount of negative effects that result in an influence on one's physical well-being. Common physical issues include a number of things like eye strain and headaches. The eye is fixed on a screen for most of the time. And the article goes on, but I want to end it here to get onto the others. But this is a very important thing for us to understand in the Caribbean. And I'm not so sure that even at the university, among our psychologists and sociologists, that we are paying attention to these things in the way that we should. The issue of mental illness, we are seeing this emerging in the Caribbean, and who knows if the screens that we spend so much time on is a contributory factor. So this is something that Caribbean people and Caribbean leaders and governments should pay much attention to in terms of finding solutions and implementing strategies that can limit the impact of these technologies on our population. The next headline is out of Grenada, and it's titled Strengthening African Caribbean Trade and Investment. It has to do with a conference that is taking place in Grenada, right? And one of the things about the conference is that it is co-sponsored by the African Import or Afri-Exim Bank, right? And the idea is that we must look at growth in the Caribbean in the next 5 years of about 2.5 million in terms of trade with Africa. It says that most Caribbean countries now face a blanket 10%. Let me start from the beginning. We are living in precarious times, in an era marked by global economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, and fragmented supply chains. Africa and the Caribbean are at a critical juncture. Most Caribbean countries now face a blanket 10% tariff on goods exported to their biggest trading partners, the United States, which takes 40% of its total exports. The so-called reciprocal tariffs on African nations ranges from 10 to 50%, with Lesotho facing the single biggest tariff of all U.S. trading partners, nullifying preferences granted through the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. These are real challenges, especially for small Caribbean firms and economies that are having to adapt with little time and often scarce resources. But there are also promising prospects on the horizon if we dare to seize them. Africa, for one, is now moving into full accelerated implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, arguably the biggest decision made by the African continent and heads of government in 6 decades. This treaty has the power not only to revolutionize African trade and development, but also to equip African countries with stronger negotiating power in multilateral arenas, therefore boosting their collective ability to change the terms of global trade. The Caribbean, with its smaller, remote, and more import-dependent economies, is one of the regions most vulnerable to external shocks, whether from tariff escalations, climate disasters, or supply chain disruptions. But it also has a chance to invest in long-term stability and economic growth by diversifying exports and trading partners, processing goods before export to retain more value and strengthening regional and international trade. While many are taking a wait-and-see approach on what this next phase of global trade will look like, for Africa and the Caribbean, this is an approach that neither can afford. With a long-standing socio-ecological history shared by the two regions, the time is ripe to forge far deeper ties through mutually beneficial trade-led economic growth and development, and serve as a model of social cooperation that inspired others to follow in their footsteps. And so this is another very important, thing to understand in terms of our economic growth. Because with the Trump administration in power, it has put us in a very precarious situation relative to trade, because the US is our main export market. And so these tariffs we are in a situation where our goods are more expensive. Additionally, when COVID came, we had suffered a very serious crisis. A number of Caribbean territories were dependent on food imports from the US. And because of shipping, logistical backlogs and so on, we were in a precarious situation with some countries, islands, wondering whether they would get food at all. So we have to look at expanding beyond the US and Europe, which have been our traditional trading partners. And importantly, I think the Republic Bank of Trinidad offers us a model. A lot of people don't know this, but Republic Bank, a local bank in Trinidad, opened branches in Ghana a few years ago. And now it is one of the largest banks in Ghana with over 40 branches. So Republic Bank has more branches in Ghana than it has in Trinidad. And it brings to mind a statement the economist Lloyd Best would make, that size is not a disadvantage necessarily. What we must look for are our comparative advantages. And economically, this is what is beckoning us now. What are our comparative advantages, whether in Belize, Jamaica, or Trinidad, and how we can sell those utilize those comparative advantages to develop economies of scale that will benefit our population and move away from the dependent model of economics that we have been pursuing since the end of colonialism. So that's one article. The next article will be on the crime situation in the Caribbean. We have had a number of killings in St. Lucia recently, and in Trinidad and throughout the Caribbean. And this situation of gun violence is something that we have to really pay attention to. And I'm going to read a short article, headline from Guyana, from St. Lucia. St. Lucia police confirmed 6 shots in a place called Black Mallet, including a 15-year-old schoolboy. You know, and so it's very sad to hear, because one would think that in a place like St. Lucia, tourist economy, that this would not happen, but it's happening in Jamaica, it's happening in Trinidad, and we have to address this. 2 people, including a 15-year-old schoolboy, were killed and 4 others were injured in a shooting late Thursday night in the Black Mallet community, according to the St. Lucia police force. Police said the shooting occurred shortly after 11 p.m. On July 17, 2025, and left 6 people with gunshot wounds. 1 man was pronounced dead on the scene, while the teenage boy was transported to hospital and later died while receiving treatment. Another male victim remains in a critical condition. 3 additional victims, including 2 women, are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries and are listed in stable condition. Law enforcement officials have not released the names of any of the victims as of Friday afternoon. No arrests have been made and police have not disclosed about it. And this is too often the pattern in the Caribbean. And so from the ground up, we have to find solutions to these problems. We don't make guns in the Caribbean, and the guns seem to be the premier tool that is wreaking havoc throughout the Caribbean relative to murder. And so these things we really have to pay much attention to. And, you know, and all our territories, we have to look at how we can solve these problems. The next article is from Trinidad, and the headline is "Attorney upset after he was blindfolded before going to see clients held in Tetron." Now, this has to do with a state of emergency was declared in Trinidad, I think just about 2 weeks ago. And according to the reports, the government indicated that there were people in the prison who had plans to attack institutions and prominent individuals in the society, including government officials. What the government did was to create a state of emergency and moved certain high-powered criminals or prisoners, I would say, into the army barracks. and so lawyers now have to go there to see their clients. And when this lawyer went there, they blindfolded him, saying he couldn't see his clients. So I want to read it because this is a very serious issue, right? Which I hope will not be an example of what will happen in the future in the Caribbean. So the headline is, as I said, attorney upset after he was blindfolded before going to see client. Attorney C.J. Williams plans to write the Criminal Bar Association, the Law Association of Trinidad, calling for urgent intervention after what he called a troubling visit to Tetron Barak Shagaramas yesterday. Williams claimed he was told he had to be blindfolded in order to consult with a client, Earl Richards, one of the men charged in the murder of Dana Sitahal, who is now being detained on the Army base under the state of emergency regulations. In letters being dispatched today, the CBA head, Israel Khan, senior counsel, and the Law Association president, Lynette Siberan Sweet, Williams describes the conditions he faced during a visit to the Defense Force Control site as a breach of attorney-client privilege. He said it was a sad day in Trinidad and Tobago under the guise of a state of emergency. He said before he could see his client, he was told he had to agree to several conditions. No electronics, no pen, no electronics fine, pen and paper only. But then they said I had to be blindfolded because of the national security threat of the site, Williams said at his Port office. Williams, who admitted to being claustrophobic, said he reluctantly agreed to the blindfold, but he claimed more troubling demands followed. He was told 5 masked men in full black tactical gear would remain in the room. That's not a legal visit. That's an intimidation tactic, Williams said. I was further warned that if anything I said could be decoded as a subliminal message, the interview would be immediately terminated. He said he refused to proceed under these terms and was ordered to leave. The officers, he said, declined to provide names or regimental numbers. Williams said he later contacted legal counsel for the Commissioner of Prisons, who he claimed responded only to say that the officers was visible but unable to hear the consultation. He said the blindfolding and the so-called subliminal message policy was unaddressed. We are not at war. This is not Guantanamo. This is Trinidad and Tobago. For a lawyer to be asked to surrender his rights and blindfold himself just to speak with a client should alarm every citizen, not just the legal fraternity. He said he was deeply disturbed by the apparent militarization of the dissension process. And so this is something we discussed before on this show, the issue of militarization. And here again is a classic case of a state of emergency is declared and the entire process is militarized to the point that a lawyer is restricted in terms of what and how he can interact with his client. It does not bode very well, and this is something that all of us in the Caribbean should be alarmed about.
It's 11 o'clock, Brother Akko.
Well, so this is it. I will stop right here, and we'll move on to the rest of the show.
Brother Akko, so we had 6 stories out of the Caribbean: Bermuda, Guyana, St. Vincent, Grenada, St. Lucia, and Trinidad. Definitely in that first half hour, we have to, this is what we call practicing active listening as Brother Akko bring needed information, right, Brother Ringo? Okay, we'll take our first break, and when we come back, the next hour is primarily Brother Ringo's voice experiences, sharing the reality of people that Curacao with we. Stay tuned, break time.
So sorry.
Make every moment matter with your credit card. More transactions, more chances to win cash back. You can be one of 4 monthly winners. Get a chance to win cash back with every purchase of $100 or more. For more information, visit www.atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
On July 10th, 2025, Belize Electricity Limited and Blair Atoll Power Company Limited signed a historic power purchase agreement for the development of a 15-megawatt utility-scale solar plant, complete with a 1.5 megawatt, 3 megawatt-hour battery storage system. This project represents a significant milestone in building a cleaner, more sustainable, and resilient electricity grid.
Today's signing is the furthest we have ever come down the road of realizing the needed facilities and our own ambitions for harnessing the power of the sun. This PPA provides a model in which everybody, BEL, Babcock, and consumers win, and that is how it should be. We have every confidence that Babcock can and will bring this project home, and BEL publicly offers whatever support it can to realize this goal.
What we learn here will set the foundation for future projects, including solar, wind, hybrid systems, and even other emerging developing technologies, renewable energy technologies, that Belize will need if we are going to remain competitive and resilient.
BEL and Babcock will collaborate closely to develop and commission the plant within 12 to 18 months from the start of construction. Once operational, the solar plant will supply clean, renewable energy directly to the national grid, strengthening Belize's energy security and diversifying our national energy mix.
Oh man, one more scroll and my data is done.
Who said anything about running out? Smart just dropped a more powerful plan that now includes social media data, so you can scroll till your fingers cramp. Visit any Smart showroom to sign up today because connectivity just got even better. Smart, bringing people together.
United Black Association for Development Educational Foundation, UEF, and Keep It Simple Organic KISO, they have the 4th annual Breddah Cliff Augustine Summer Film Photography Camp Community Exhibit Thursday night, July 31st, 2025, the UEF headquarters, 3304 Amandala Drive, behind the zinc fence, the Library of African and Indigenous Studies. On a come out, can support them black youths, then take them pictures of here. We prints then start to sell from $25 Belize to hundreds of dollars. So on come out, can support them youth. I have to big up the community sponsors. We have one bunch of them. Brother Cliff and Elma Augustine family. The families and the students were conduct camp, swimming successfully and smiling swim school, the Placencia Village, and the swimming instructors. Angela's Press Limited, Varela's Auto Rental, Kim Grab and Go, XTV, Creme Radio, Amandala Newspaper, Mahogany My Sister will make we use a vehicle, Saint Bite, Garifuna Youth Drummers. With driver, Kimathi, Keep It Simple Organic KISO, Uncle Sid from Art House Film Lab, and Black in Marine Science BIMS.
Come to banquet, find your way. Engines roar at the break of day. Volvo outboard surf the waves. Castrol oil is what they crave. Live with power, feel the sound. Heavy machines shake the ground. Riding Honda, feeling proud. Rev it up and shout aloud. Feel the wind against your skin. Stars so wide, let's begin. At banquet where dreams ignite. Gear up and let's take flight. Kohler's power runs our towns. JCB lifts heavy pounds. Find the tools to build your dreams. Benquip's got the best machines. Grip the wheel and never slip. Feel the rush, it's time to trip. Every brand you know and love, Banquet fits you like a glove. Feel the wind against your skins. Now so why, let's begin. At Banquet, where dreams ignite. Gear up, let's take flight.
Banquet, equipment, parts, service. We represent quality.
Guatemala, this a we a figure. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. This a me name is Ufa. Believe me, come from the Billy City area. 110% Belize and proud of it, sir. Don't tell me about maritime area. Long time ago, agreement by the slave master. Talking about the head on the Belize and dollar because patriots. All people who love them country bad, love them homeland. Will never give it up to another nation. Country bad, love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation. This a we we the fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This a we the fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. This a me name is Guatemala. Follow me now. This a we the fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. This a me name is Ufa. Believe me, come from the Billy City area. 110% Belize and proud of it, sir. Don't tell me about maritime area. Long time ago, agreement by the slave master. Talking about the head on the Belize and dollar because patriots. All people who love them country bad, love them homeland. Will never give it up to another nation.
Welcome back to the second segment of Sunday Review. Sister YaYa, Brother Akko, Brother Ringo. They had heights of reasoning during breaking and we just listened to them. The reasoning sound good. I want to know how they think that will manifest. Indeed, what they were sharing is the importance of Caribbean communities connecting with the continent of Africa and our people there for our benefit, because this continuous connection to the European, primarily enslaver, colonizer, and work for we. So before we get into that talking, Brother Ringo, tell me a little bit about yourself and Curacao, which are a majority African racialized as black population, and I especially concerned or want to hear about a language because the first time I hear one language, we have components as so much different languages.
Yes, greetings, Sister YaYa. Greetings to Brother Mutota again and the listeners. Yes, my name is Ringo Harrigan. I'm ex-military infantry at the surf in the Netherlands. And I'm an activist and working here in Curacao right now to help the people here in Curacao, people with disability, children who live in the poverty here in Curacao, and also to help so that we can come off of the colonizer, the Netherlands. So because Curacao is still colonized.
What do you mean when you say Curacao is still colonized?
Nothing has changed since 1600, because we have here a governor that takes orders from the Netherlands and implements it here. So if the parliament want to pass a law and the law doesn't suit the Netherlands, the governor reject the law. So we still colonize. And more other things happening here. So
I hear you. Tell us about the language that you talk regularly.
Papiamento. Papiamento is a language, is a indigenous language from Africa. Yeah. So we have some university, for example, in the States, in Brazil, and Australia. They have university that they teach Papiamento. So we did have some students from those countries who came here to interact with our people here in Curacao.
So I want to ask you this last question, and Brother Akko could ask you a question. What is your life like daily as a community organizer in Curacao?
The fight for the right of the people here I'm a beekeeper. I do different work. I mean, I'm welder, tile, carpenter, but also work on different laws to protect our people. For example, the international law for development and the wealth of people with disability here in Curacao. We're still working on that here, pursuing the government so that they can install this law to protect our people, and also that they can participate in the society, because we still have, for example, public transportation that people with disability can participate in the public transportation. So it is crazy. So.
And the majority of the population are identifiably Black people.
Yes, but things has been changed a lot here because of the system. So the colonized system, that they are putting a lot of pressure on the local people, and you have a lot of local people that flee from the island going to other islands in the world, including in the Netherlands. And so they let a lot of people from the Netherlands coming here, and also a lot of people coming in to Curacao illegally, for example, from Venezuela and other countries coming here, so they can work for less money. Yeah. So right now, the exact percent of indigenous local people in Curacao, we don't have that.
Brother Akko.
Oh, Brother Ringo, it's good to see you again.
Yes.
And so there are a number of questions I want to ask, because a lot of people in the Caribbean are not familiar with the Dutch-speaking islands of the Caribbean, right? Which are called the ABC Islands: Aruba, Borneo, Curacao, and Saba, right?
Yes.
Those are the Dutch and Statia, St. Eustatius, right? So those are the Dutch Caribbean islands. Aruba, Borneo, Curacao, Saba, and St. Eustatius, right?
Yes.
The Dutch
St. Martin too.
Oh, yes, St. Martin, yeah. And St. Martin is split between a French side and a Dutch side. Yeah.
Yes.
So these islands were never given independence by the Dutch. Is that correct?
Correct. That's correct. That's correct.
So, but I also knew that some time ago, there was an arrangement in which I think Curacao and Aruba would have had a different kind of arrangement with the Netherlands. Can you explain that for us?
Everything was fake.
Everything was fake.
Everything was fake. Exactly.
Explain.
Did they make something on paper and just saying that you have another constellation, but it's not? For example, they have the financial supervisor, they call it CFT, still impose on the financial program of Curacao through the Netherlands, and the Netherlands through the CFT imposing the system. For example, we have right now the director of the Central Bank of Curacao and St. Martin. The director is a Dutchman. And we used to have local people sitting there. Yeah, so they start different allegations against him to remove him from the seat so that they can place this Dutchman. Yes, and that's not good. Yeah, for example, the hospital. Yeah, they have a Dutchman as a director there. The University of Curacao, they have a Dutch lady there as the director. I mean, since let me take since 1950, we have people going to study in the Netherlands. Can you tell me that we don't have nobody with the qualification to sit as a director of the University of Curacao, as a director of the central bank or the hospital? So we still colonized. So they're removing. We even have, for example, the refinery. The refinery is closed right now because of the pressure of the Netherlands. The Netherlands wants to destroy the refinery so they can place the thing they want to place. I mean, we have they're coming with a lot of project here, hotel, luxury apartments, etc. Money laundering. I mean, you see big things happening here. It's only Dutch. Only Dutch. If a local person want to start a big project, he doesn't get a permit. He doesn't get a permit. Yeah, many of them who they succeed in something is because they put a Dutch person in front and they stand in the back. And that is not good.
So, Brother Ringo, I know there is a struggle in Bonnier right now in which James Finnis took a case to the United Nations.
Correct.
Okay. And the concern with the Bonnierians is that the Dutch government is flooding Bonnier with European Dutch people in order to diminish the indigenous population of Bonnier. Is that something similar happening in Curacao?
Exactly. The thing is, the idea behind that is that they want to go back in their glory back then in 1600. And that is what one of the politicians in the parliament brought forward in the meeting and asking the government of the Netherlands to do that. And you have other colleagues from the Caribbean working in the parliament, looking to this gentleman, explaining these things. And I mean, everybody was astonished. People were astonished to listen to him bringing these things forward. But they were being implementing this for many years. And that's why I'm thinking that all Caribbean islands must unite with the ABC Islands, St. Martin, Sebastian too, and help the islands to gain their independence.
Is there an independence movement I remember in the 1970s, there were two leaders, I don't recall their names now, but they were part of the independence movement in Curacao.
Papa Codet.
Who is it, please?
Papa Codet was one of them.
Yes. Repeat the name again.
Papa Codet.
And there's another guy, two brothers.
You had Papa Codet and you had this gentleman.
Anyway,
some of them.
Go ahead, sir.
The few groups, those people they pass away.
Right.
Yeah. For a very long time they pass away. But the children, they took the fight for the future. Okay. So they didn't do nothing about that. Some of them came in the parliament, in the government, but they didn't do nothing. Right. You had a tool in your hand. You didn't do nothing.
Betico Cruz, right? Is that the guy?
Betito Cruz is from Aruba.
Oh, he's from Aruba. Okay.
Yeah. Betito Cruz is from Aruba.
So Aruba.
Yes, he did a good job. He did a good job, but again, his children also they took the step forward and keep going with the sweat of the father.
Right. So what is happening is the same thing that is happening in Bonaire is a similar situation that is happening in Curacao. Now, I also know, and I want you to comment on this, that Curacao is one of the places in the world with the most amount of African retentions. And I wanted to speak about that because there are a lot of African castles and slave forts and so on. And it's also, I think, on the UNESCO list, couple of them on UNESCO. So I wanted to talk about that relative, the two things, the African retentions and also the struggle for independence in Curacao.
Yeah. Yes, the struggle for the independence of Curacao, we have different people who was working on that, but they break them spirit. I mean, financially also, they intimidate them going through their private life, etc., etc. So it is something that a lot of people they take a step back, but we the ones who still keep going on, we still feeling all the intimidation and things they're doing. Yeah, they're blocking you everywhere, but we don't care. We keep going. We keep going because they help them to get the independent for when the Second World War started. The Queen and the King of the Netherlands cowardly flee and left the people behind. We from the islands who they helped them in the Second World War. We were the pillar from the war that they win. Without us, they couldn't win. Our people, they put their life in danger here on the island to work on the refinery to produce fuel for them and their allies. They organized big fundraising, and we were the ones who they financed the war for the Netherlands. But you don't see this in school here in Curacao. You don't see that in school over there in the Netherlands. Internationally, you don't hear nothing about that. So they hide everything. So even when they send our people to fight, to help them, to give them the opportunity of life and for a good future. And so right now they want to break our island like this, our people. No, that's not right. So they help you. No, right now we're fighting for ourselves, for our independence. You can't help yourself to get your independence. We did help you to get your independence. So right now we're fighting to get our independence. Yeah, so together with other islands that they can support us, that we can get to United Nations, CARICOM, all of them, that we can get our independence, that we can put the pressure on the Netherlands so they can wake up and give us our independence. Like they said, they're going to send it to the post mail for us. Okay, send it to the post mail for us.
Brother Akka was acting, and I'm really appreciating Brother Akka's line of conversation and your responses, Brother Ringo. What are some African practices will honor still keep as a part of daily life at Curacao? What are some physical African structures where you could still see that Curacao?
Nothing. They break everything. Even our music that we used to practice, our ancestors used to practice to communicate with each other back then, is a tambour. Yeah, that they play on drum, etc. I mean, they fight against that a long time. So during the year, you don't hear them play that on the island or on the radio stations or on the TV. It is only a period in December. That's it. I mean, even the rituals that our people was doing back then, when you go to do a job, something, you prepare yourself. You do your ritual to prepare yourself. None of that. None of that. Everything banned.
How about when you're for funerals? There's no African, like, one of the things we've lost in Belize, I born in the late 60s. And I remember in the 70s, if somebody dead in your family and you have one young child, I guess maybe less than 3 years old, then across the child over the hole when they don't dig it, that burying ground. You know, say that happened Belize anymore. You don't have any rituals for when you bury your dead that you still use?
Nothing. We don't have nothing. Nothing.
Brother Akka, is that surprising to you?
Not at all, because of the kind of colonization that is taking place in Curacao. Because but the other question I asked Ringo, because I read some years ago where there was some castles or some slave artifacts that still remain in Curacao.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about that a bit, because I think UNESCO went in there and proclaimed it a site for preservation and so on. So I wanted to just talk about that a bit.
1 second before he responds, a break time, the last break. So, you know, have to come back after the break for hear more story about African enslaved people and artifacts and structures. And it's still there because UNESCO want to recognize it. So we're going to take one quick break and we're going to come right back. We have Brother Ringo Harrigan, community organizer, activist from out of Curacao, our Dutch Caribbean country. And Brother Akka make one good point. One lot of way, especially in the English Caribbean, we don't know about, if they're not English, then they talk. We don't know about the Caribbean people. They talk Dutch, then talk French, then talk Spanish. We don't know about them. And because the Caribbean countries aren't grouped together as one set, you have Curacao and you have the East Caribbean, lot of things. So we really need, Brother Akka, when we come back, for name the Caribbean countries there, so that we start to pay attention to. Not just African people, you know. I could know that they have other groups of people like Indian people from India and indigenous people. But the majority of the Caribbean, the African people racialized as black people, kind of for we African ancestors and ancestors, then kidnap, human traffic, work without any benefits. There's no reparations. There's no repairing of the harm that continue what we still live with today. That's why we have this conversation. Break time.
Tired of replacing light bulbs? LEDs are what you need. LEDs last up to 30,000 hours. That's 30 times longer than incandescent bulbs, and up to 8 times longer than compact fluorescents. So less changing and less trash. Planet Earth thanks you. And the LED experts at Brothers Habet and Habet will help you find the best LED solution with colors for every room and mood, starting as low as $6.95. You can even get LED strips for home, office, and industrial use. So say goodbye to fluorescent tubes forever. And because they use up to 90% less energy, you save money. Money you can spend on other things. So head to Brothers Habet or Habet today. You can also call, email, or Facebook us. Have a brilliant day.
Make every moment matter with your credit card. More transactions, more chances to win cash back. You can be one of 4 monthly winners. Get a chance to win cash back with every purchase of $100 or more. For more information, visit www.atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
United Black Association for Development Educational Foundation, UEF, and Keep It Simple Organic KISO, they have the 4th annual Breddah Cliff Augustine Summer Film Photography Camp Community Exhibit Thursday night, July 31st, 2025, the UEF headquarters, 3304 Amandala Drive, behind the zinc fence, the Library of African and Indigenous Studies. On a come out, can support them black youths, then take them pictures of here. We prints then start to sell from $25 Belize to hundreds of dollars. So on a come out, can support them youth. I have to big up the community sponsors. We have one bunch of them. Brother Cliff and Elma Augustine family. The families and the students were conduct camp, swimming successfully and smiling swim school, the Placentia Village, and the swimming instructors. Angela's Press Limited, Varela's Auto Rental, Kim Grab and Go, XTV, Creme Radio, Amandala Newspaper, Mahogany, my sister, we use a vehicle, Saint Bite, Garifuna Youth Drummers. With driver, Kimathi, Keep It Simple Organic KISO, Uncle Sid from Art House Film Lab, and Black in Marine Science BIMS.
In our world that's always changing, one thing stays the same.
Our promise as Smart Belize to keep you connected.
Connected to the moments, the people, and the future that matter most.
With every new tower, our service upgrades, and every new smile, we're keeping our promise in building more than a network.
We're building a future, a family, as Smart Belize. From Punta Gorda to Curacao, we are here not just as a network, but as your partner in progress.
We have grown significantly over the past 20 years, and we just keep growing. Thank you for placing your trust in us. We remain dedicated to providing meaningful connections that bring value in every way that matters to you. We continue to bring people together.
Tired of replacing light bulbs? LEDs are what you need. LEDs last up to 30,000 hours. That's 30 times longer than incandescent bulbs, and up to 8 times longer than compact fluorescents. So less changing and less trash. Planet Earth thanks you. And the LED experts at Brothers Habet and Habet will help you find the best LED solution with colors for every room and mood, starting as low as $6.95. You can even get LED strips for home, office, and industrial use. So say goodbye to fluorescent tubes forever. And because they use up to 90% less energy, you save money. Money you can spend on other things. So head to Brothers Habet or Habet and Habet today. You can also call, email, or Facebook us. Have a brilliant day.
Amandala is now online. You can now access Amandala's midweek and weekend issues online by logging on to our website at amandala.com.bz/news and joining our membership portal today. There's 5 easy steps to get unlimited access to weekly e-paper, archive publications, and a host of other exclusive contents. Number 1, go to Amandala's website. Number 2, navigate to subscribed areas. Number 3, choose a membership level. Number 4, check out using our secured portal. Number 5, log into the members only section. Telephone numbers 501-280-4703 or 202-4477. Fax us at 501-222-4702, or you could email at amandalapress@yahoo.com or amandalapress@gmail.com. Amandala, all power to the people.
every moment matter with your credit card. More transactions, more chances to win cash back. You can be one of 4 monthly winners. Get a chance to win cash back with every purchase of $100 or more. For more information, visit www.atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Oh man, one more scroll and my data is done.
Wait, who said anything about running out? Smart just dropped a more powerful plan that now includes social media data so you can scroll till your fingers cramp. Visit any Smart showroom to sign up today because connectivity just got even better. Smart, bringing people together.
Guatemala, Filipino, this a GTA, we don't love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation. This a GTA, we don't fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala, Filipino, this a GTA, we don't fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. This a me name is Pupa. Belize me come from the Belize City area. 110% Belize and proud of it. Don't tell me about maritime area. Long time ago agreement by the slave master. Talking about the help on the Belize and dollar because patriots. All people who love them country bad love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation. Country bad love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation.
It's 20 minutes to 12. Sunday review, Sister YaYa, Brother Akko, Brother Ringo. And so we'll try to jam in as much as we can in this in these last 20 minutes. Brother Akko asked Brother Ringo before we got on the break about artifacts, structures from our African ancestors and ancestors in Curacao and UNESCO's intention to preserve them. What could tell about that, Brother Ringo?
Yes, we still have some of the monuments here in Curacao, but the thing is that none of them is in the hand of the indigenous people. All of them are in the hands of the Dutch people. And that's crazy. That's crazy. And even some of the artifacts that this institution they call NAM here in Curacao is Dutch. And when they dig some of the artifacts, they send them to the Netherlands. So we don't have nothing.
An organized group in Curacao, like from listening to you, it's evident that you're knowledgeable, confident, and fearless. I don't know how much people I have like you that Curacao. So is there an organized group of people who study regularly, where could, looking at the past and say, they lied away, these are the truth, make we share it with people? Is there an organized group of people studying together and working for the liberation?
No, because those before me, did they break them down? And the other thing is that did they talk with them, show them that do something for yourself, and did they make them comfortable? Yeah, because some of them are right now in the 60s, some in the 70s, and they don't do nothing more. So they are comfortable right now, and they live their life comfortable like that. So we are the youngsters. We don't have a lot of people working on this, coming together and forming a group, because many of them are scared, yeah, afraid to lose the job because they intimidate them for that too. Because what they did is that um, make you dependent on them. Yeah. So you have a mortgage, you have your job, you complain about something, they call the boss and say, just send it home. Yeah, they lose the job, so they lose the mortgage, lose the house, and many people don't want that. Yeah, so they keep imposing and intimidating the people on the using financial weapon on our people.
You were going to say something, Brother Akko?
No. I wanted to. The economic weaponization is one thing I want to discuss, but I wanted to get an idea of what are some of the, because if I remember, when I passed through Curacao a few years ago, I think there was evidence of a Dutch fort, a slave fort on the island. I don't know, you can clarify that for me?
We have one, two, we have three forts. Four forts we have. One in Caracas Bay. We have two in Willemstad. The two in Willemstad is in front of each other, and we have one in Boca. It's in another neighborhood.
And these were slave forts? Or military forts?
Military fort.
Okay.
Military fort.
Okay. Were there any slave dungeons that exist in Curacao?
I didn't hear you.
Were there any slave dungeons that existed in Curacao?
We have different items that many things was lost. Many things was lost. And the other thing is one of the area that the slaves they fought, they call it the area there, they call Seri Neger, the Black Hill. So there we had when Tula, who is one of the heroes of Curacao for the revolution in 1795, they were hiding on the hill there. So they were betrayed, and many of them, they died over there, and they were buried there. But what happened is that one of the Dutch people came to Curacao, and he wanted to destroy the area to make a project that they can build some houses for the people. Yeah. So the government back then gave them the permit for that. The people, indigenous people, was protesting there, but they keep going forward with the project. And the project, they did finish a lot of things there, but the problem is that when the Dutch people came there to live in those houses, the children couldn't sleep because of the existence of the spirit of our people. The children couldn't sleep. Many of them had to flee. They sell the house and they left. Yeah. So during the construction, you had one worker start digging with a machine, and they found some bones of our ancestors. He jumped off the machine. He said, "No, I'm not gonna do this." And the Dutchman, the owner, said, "Man, step aside." He jumped on the machine. He dig a lot of bones, and some of the other workers, they work with him. They throw away on the garbage the bones of our ancestors. And after that, the Dutchman passed away. Behind him was another worker, another worker, another worker, another worker. All of them, they passed away. Yeah.
Wow.
So what happened is that the new owner who bought the area, did they hire a gentleman from Colombia and some people from Curacao to do a ritual. Yeah. So to remove the spirit of our people, our ancestors from there.
And what is there now?
I didn't hear you?
What do they have on that space after they did the ritual? What do they use the space for?
They make a neighborhood there. They call it Fontaine. And they're still keeping destroying the area. So what they did also is to violate the international law of heritage. So the thing is that when we in the government that we are ruling, we can start a case in court, international court against them for the destruction. They did destroy a lot of heritage, a lot of things they destroy here. Yeah, the ecosystem, they don't care about nothing. They keep destroying everything here.
During the break, you said something that we could relate to in Belize. A lot of our people, too many, have the disease of alcoholism.
Yes.
And I was surprised to hear you say you have Chinese grocers as well. From early in the morning, people they outside, they wait for them to open their shop for buy alcohol and then drink morning till night as a coping mechanism to stress. Brother Akka, is it like that in Trinidad? Do you all have a lot of Asian grocers?
Well, we have, when I say Asian, Indians are Asians, huh? So we had in the I would say in the 50s and 60s when I was growing up, the majority of shops in villages, rural villages in Trinidad were Chinese, right? But the Chinese have moved into other kinds of businesses, so they no longer own the shops. So a number of the shops now are owned by people of Indian descent, and we don't have much shops anymore, a lot of groceries, you know? But we did have a lot of Chinese shops, right? When I was growing up as a child in Trinidad, we had, in my village alone, we had like 4 Chinese shops, you know, less than 2 miles. We had 4 Chinese shops. Yes, there was a lot of alcoholism. There's still a lot of alcoholism in Trinidad. You know, and it's a way of it's a way of numbing the society. And then with the legalization of marijuana or ganja now, a lot of the young people are now who don't drink, they are smoking. You know, so these are things that are utilized to numb the society and to sort of numb people to social realities. And what I can tell you from living history, this is what I experienced. Prior to 1970, the so-called Black Power Revolution, the use of drugs and to some extent alcohol in our society was very limited. And in the post-1970 period, during the state of emergency, it was the first time we saw hard drugs. They lifted the emergency and they had these things called Woodstocks. And these Woodstocks all over the country were places where drugs would be used freely, LSD and all of these things. And so the post-1970, we developed a drug culture in Trinidad, which still exists, you know. And all of these things are patterns that are used throughout the Caribbean. We want us to realize that one of the things that came out of the Iran-Contra scandal was Reagan used the drug dealers to sell drugs, to buy arms to send to the Contras in Nicaragua to fight the Sandinistas. So the U.S. government, as a policy, utilized drugs when it's convenient in order to pursue its agenda. And so the Dutch is similar. I mean, if you look at history, for example, there was a rebellion in China called the Boxer Rebellion. And this is because the British and other European powers wanted to sell opium to the Chinese. And when they revolted, because the Chinese government saw Chinese being addicted to opium. And people should read this. So what is happening now with the use of drugs in our society? This has always been a pattern of the European and the Americans, to drug your country, right, when necessary in order to advance their agenda. So the Boxer Rebellion, and this is why China talks about this century of humiliation. All of this pushing of opium on the Chinese population was part of this, what they call the century of humiliation. So we have to understand that these powers, United States, United Kingdom, the Netherlands, they will do anything to maintain their control over our societies. And one must not forget that the apartheid system was developed by the Dutch in South Africa. People seem to forget it. Right now, a lot of our academics are running to Geneva, talk about reparations and so on, forgetting that the very place they are going to in The Hague was the center of, this is where the people developed apartheid in South Africa. Because apartheid is a Dutch word, means separateness, right?
Yes.
You know Dutch. They forgot that guys who developed it. So now we believe that these Dutch people are our friends and they are humanitarian. They are not.
Exactly.
You know,
they're using.
They are not. Go ahead.
They're using our people. I mean, if we see around the world, they're coming with different project, like they want to help you. The Dutch system is they give you 5 gulden, they take 1,000 gulden from you. That is the strategy of the Dutchman. Yeah. So they're destroying everywhere, they're destroying everything. You know, using our people. I mean, even about the drug problem. Yeah, we did lost a lot of young people here in Curacao. Yeah, because of the drug problem that the Netherlands has with the big business that they have there. Even European Union, they call the Minister of Defense, back then was Grappenhaus. Yeah, the Minister of Justice, they call him to come there in a meeting. And they apologize to all the countries and European Union there in Europe for the problem that they have that the Netherlands is causing about the drug problem. So the thing is that right now what we have to do in the Caribbean is blocking KLM to fly in our area, because it's KLM and TUI who's traveling with the drugs with those people. We have to block them. They're not allowed to come in our space anymore. That is what we have to do. Yeah, we know. I mean, some people think that no, we're gonna love some money. No. Our life, the life of our youngsters, has more value than the money. We have to protect our people, our youngsters. Curacao, they lost a lot of youngsters, a lot of them. And a lot of them is in jail also in Germany, in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and other places because of the drug problem that the Netherlands is causing. Yeah, and coming back on the alcoholism problem that we have here, yeah, is because of the stress and the depression that our people have. We have a lot of young people in jail. Why? Because they finish the study, they finish the university and things, they get no job, they get no opportunities to start a business, they get no permit for nothing. Because the system is blocking them. I mean, those who go to study in the Netherlands and they come back here to do a part of the study here in Curacao by some business. They don't got no opportunity. But the Dutch students has a system that they can come here and do part of the study here. And not our indigenous people. I mean, in everything, they're blocking our people. In everything. And that is unacceptable. That is unacceptable.
We're almost out of time, brothers. So I give Brother Ringo a minute for his final thoughts, Brother Akko a minute for his final thoughts, and then we'll close out.
Okay, thank you. My thoughts is that we need to keep working together and gather more people from other islands that we can form a block that we can help each other gain our independence and form the Caribbean Union, and that we can connect with Africa and start doing business with Africa, straight with Africa, and also with each other. For example, to take a flight to Belize or to Trinidad, Dominica, if you get a ticket for $300, okay. I mean, not 600 or 1200. No, it's crazy. Because in the Netherlands, to take a flight from the Netherlands to Germany or to France or Spain, you pay 75 euro. I mean, we have to do something on these things, on this matter, to make things better, good life for our people. Thank you.
Thanks, Brother Ringo. Brother Akko?
This was a revealing insight into the Caribbean, another Caribbean territory, which many of us are not aware of what is taking place in the rest of the Caribbean, because sometimes we are so locked into our own national territory. So I was happy that we could have Brother Ringo here and to give us insight into what is happening in Curacao. But he made an important point, which I was hoping we could develop, but we don't have time. The role that the Dutch play in the drug trade in the world. Now, we talk about the Colombian mafia, but in Europe, the real drug capital of Europe is the Netherlands, the Rotterdam port,
Correct.
LSD. I mean, people don't realize all that movie with I forgot the movie that was some years ago. The guy who just died. Anyway, I don't remember the name of the movie. But the port of Rotterdam, and not only that, there is a level of prostitution too that the Dutch has legalized.
Yes.
Right? Which is morally corruptible. You could go in a little glass case and pick a prostitute, and these are the kinds of things that the Dutch has done. While they moralize us about what we should do, and while our academics run into the Hague and getting little grants here, and so we are selling, as Ringo said, they give you 5 guilders and they take 1,000 guilders, right? They're taking our soul, and I think we have to expose Holland, the Netherlands, for what it is, as a corrupt colonizer that has done damage to the African world, and that continues to do damage to the Caribbean in terms of the holding of colonies in these Dutch-speaking islands in the Caribbean.
Correct.
Big thanks, Brother Akko, and I learned from listening to Brother Ringo, among other things, that for the currency that the Antillean Gillian. What are the exchange rates? Gilda. What are the exchange rate? How much US dollars to one Gilda, Brother Ringo?
Right now, we don't have the Antillean Gilda anymore. They changed that into the Caribbean Gilda. Yeah, it is different. It's not the same. I'm gonna show you what we have right now. This is it's the new billet that we have here in Curacao.
How much is that worth in US currency?
This is it is still the same. 175 is one US.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
That helps.
Yes.
That helps. Big thanks. I wanted to say quickly before we go, this has been, like Brother Akko said, insightful, revealing for people, especially in English-speaking Caribbean countries. We will have Brother Ringo back, believe me. Our African ancestresses and ancestors are happy that we're still here with a struggle for liberation. We're sure of who we are, and we keep look for them for their guidance and protection, and continue to work, Brother Ringo. We know that a great sacrifice, and it's a struggle, but because of that, make we there. As most Belizeans would know, and people in some of the English-speaking Caribbean country, Friday, August 1st, is recognized as African Emancipation Day. And United Black Association for Development Educational Foundation. So a 12th year, leading from the bottom up, we have 3 community actions, and we'd ask Belizeans, as always, to come out and support we. We know the state have for their own thing, and they're usually drinking and dancing and merriment and bashment. And I know they said that there's not a time for that. But we Belizean people need to build with knowledge, because they knowledge ourselves that we want to contribute to for we liberation collectively. You have a number of community awareness ads running on Creme Radio for do just that, for share knowledge and build awareness, because the miseducation church system, no one do that and not do that. Our guest coming in this year is Brother Gush John. He's been on XTV and Creme Radio a number of times. I just want to share quickly, he had an 80th Earth Strong this year, and I just want to share with somebody about him for just make Belizean know more about my guest this year. He's a Britain First Black Director Education. He helped build the Black Parents Movement, and he fight for children failed by the system. He advised governments, he teach the top universities, he expose institutional racism, champion youth justice, and call out injustice with unmatched clarity and courage. In not compromise, in not quiet down, I not stop push for change. And so at this gathering, what I had fun, I had a room full of professors, activists, and intellectuals. And so would encourage Belizeans that at great sacrifice, we have to acknowledge niche, because they provide the bulk of the money for we could organize. And that's the National Institute for Culture and History. And no, it's a Belizean taxpaying money. Someone could be very clear. They're not doing a favor for we money they invest in for we liberation as a people. We have to acknowledge their contribution to it. Brother Gus will be in country on Tuesday. On the first action, we usually have 3 action. One be Thursday, July 31st from 7 to 9 at the Library of African and Indigenous Studies, UEF home base, behind the zinc fence for Amandala Drive. Besides being the meet and greet for Brother Gus John, that also Brother Cliff Augustine Summer Film Photography Camp Community Exhibition. So to come out, come by with Black youths pictures, then they go for $25 up. That Thursday the 31st. Friday, August 1st from 6 to 7 in front of Marin Parade. We're asking if we wear white. If we not could, we'll have the usual drumming, libation, and flower petal release. And then in the evening from 7 to 9 p.m., Brother Gush John will share a Free Your Mind community conversation, the Department of Youth Services auditorium between Gwenlis High School and the church. We'll ask Belizeans to come out and support. It will be live stream on XTV Belize YouTube, XTV Belize Facebook, on XTV local channel and comrade, but we wanted people to come out. In the past, we had more attendance for a Free Your Mind community conversation. But since the state make August 1st on public and bank holiday in 2021, and it start with then drinking and bashment and merriment, instead of more people coming to the knowledge sharing, community exchange, then go bash. So they appeal to Belizeans, like Mama Baino from IT said, the people who come that the one that was supposed to come, it take one at a time, energy, resources. We ask Belizean people to come out face to face, especially August 1st from 7 to 9 p.m. This show will repeat at 5:30 Belize time on XTV. The security guard has been Shane Flowers. At XTV, we have with Sister Krista Flowers, who has been a technical director. And we have Lee Kirsten, the assistant today. And then we also have at Creme Radio, Brother Larry Guerrero, known as Larry G. We thank everybody. We stay tuned. We ask people to share this link. Brother Akko, big thanks for introduce we to Brother Ringo Harrigan from the Caribbean island of Curacao. Belize is not a Caribbean island. We live on the mainland of so-called Central America. But it's very important that we continue to stay in communication with one another and know that our skin folk that know we kin folk. We have enough people who betray we and continue to betray we. So I really value when we meet one credible, courageous, conscious, fearless brother at great sacrifice like Brother Ringo. And for tell a brother, when I keep you in a high vibration, we just want text or a phone call away, make we know how we could help you. And Brother I could say the same for him behalf because they do it before you even meet me. So until next Sunday, Belizeans, everybody will tune in. Again, thanks, Brother Ringo Harrigan, community organizer out of Curacao. Brother Mutota, co-host of Sunday Review from the Twin Islands of Trinidad and Tobago. Until next Sunday, only the people and save the people.
Only the people will save the people. Thank you, Sister YaYa. Thank you, Brother Ringo. Good to see you again.
Guatemala, this time we have nobody do it to no Guatemala. This time my name is Pupa. Belize me come from the Belize City area. 110% Belize and proud of it. No, tell me about maritime area. Long time ago agreement by the slave master, talking about the head on the Belize and dollar because patriots. All people who love them country bad love them homeland. Will never give it up to another nation. Country bad love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation. This